How is everybody? Dr. Katka here today for our Monday musing. Look at this beautiful sky. Not much of the sun, but lots of beautiful clouds. So what I would love to do today our start of the evening is the pancreas. And I do have a little show and tell for you. However, I want us to make sure that we catch the beautiful sunset as it's coming from right behind the clouds and goes behind the mountain. So we'll watch both, and I'll kind of do this with you over here. So we'll watch together. And let's see, can you see me if I sit down? Let's see if we can figure that one out a little bit together. We'll figure it out somehow. But the idea of a pancreas, I'll take my glasses off here so I can see you better. The idea of pancreas as a gland, we mostly know it for either insulin, and that's the endocrine part of the pancreas, meaning we need part of the pancreatic cells to produce enough insulin through our lifetime. If that doesn't happen, there could be type 1 diabetes, which usually the islet cells, which are the cells producing the insulin, are destroyed by antibodies at a very young age. And or type 2 diabetes that usually develops over time for many reasons. Oftentimes it is lifestyle, dietary changes, could be some stressors to the organism as well. The exocrine part of the pancreas, it's what most of the pancreas is actually made of. The endocrine part of the pancreas is very small. We need pancreatic enzymes and juices. So remember when we talked about digestion, right? We have the digestion starts in the mouth through the saliva. We're breaking mostly carbohydrates there. Then we're going into the stomach. In the stomach, we have primarily starting to break down protein. And then the juices from the pancreas go in the small intestine as well as the bile from the liver. So we're helping to break down the fat, and again, more carbohydrates, the amylase, lipase, a lot of other enzymes are coming from the pancreas. The big piece of the pancreas also brings in a HCO3 group, which means it's alkalinizing the bolus that comes from the stomach that's acidic. So a big piece of the pancreatic juice allows for alkalinization. So that is a very important piece. Hello, hello, hello. Enjoy the sunset as we talk about the pancreas today. The part that is forgotten about the pancreas that I really want to stress today, because we all know about digestive enzymes and we all know about insulin. Endocrine system as a whole gets stressed, period. So high levels of stress, trauma, long-term stressors, they affect thyroid, they affect the adrenals, they affect our pituitary, hypothalamus, pituitary, adrenal axis. The whole endocrine system gets affected. However, we do not speak about the pancreas as much. The pancreas itself as a gland gets also weakened by stress, and we don't really have any support for it in traditional medicine, and often not even in naturopathic medicine, meaning we can support the adrenals and we have a lot of thyroid support, but we don't think of the pancreas as, oh my goodness, it depletes with stress. What do I do for the pancreas? So one important aspect of the pancreatic enzymes is thus. I just lost my mic. Did you see that? I will plug it back in so you can hear me. Hang on 1 second. That was funny. Now it's full of cactus here, but hopefully you can hear me. But I was saying something very important. So yes, we need the digestive enzymes to digest our food. But in a healthy pancreas and in a healthy body, there's additional enzymes that are used to quote unquote digest inflammation in our body. You've heard on something called the pancreatolytic enzymes. Those enzymes are highly used as an anti-inflammatory enzymes right now. You must have heard of something called WOB enzyme from Germany, but there are many others that can be used. The most important discovery of its kind was by Dr. William Kelly, who actually cured himself of pancreatic cancer with pancreatic enzymes. But those are high doses of pancreatic enzymes, and they're very specific. They are the trypsin, chymotrypsin enzyme. So I'll show you one of the company that makes these. I'm going to set this right here so you can enjoy this beautiful sun coming out shortly. And I'll move this so you can see it better. But the idea is that we have forgotten about the power of the pancreas as an organ, as a gland, and it's really helpful to bring it back in. Hello, doggy. So these are like bases, and you're going to see it backwards, but like Similase, you know, those are basic digestive enzymes from plant source, so they're okay for vegetarians as well. So if there is any trouble in the digestive system, bloating, gas, I feel, you know, full after I eat, digestive enzymes would be the first thing to do to support the pancreas. Then there are some stronger digestive enzymes, and those would have hydrochloric acid in them, so they're helping the pancreas a little bit more. And this one already has the pancreatin and has the pepsin in. So there's stronger ones for if people eat a lot of meat or if there is a, you know, bigger discomfort. And then, oh, Mike, you're awesome. Hi. So appreciate your hello there. And then we have even stronger one, and this one is the pancreatin, once again, with the ox bile. So we're actually supporting the bile aspect from the liver as well as the pancreas, right? So there's multitude of different digestive enzymes. It just depends on what the trouble is. If I'm having issues digesting fat, I'll definitely grab the one that has the ox bile in it. If I'm vegetarian and I don't want to have any animal product of any kind, I'm just going to grab the Similase. And if I'm really looking for digesting some inflammation, I'm going to grab the pancreatin that has the trypsin, chymotrypsin in a very high doses. And those normally digestive enzymes, I'm going to eat them with food, right? But for the digesting the inflammation, it is very important that I do those away from meals. Otherwise, they'll be digesting my foods. Okay, let's check out this beautiful sunset. Do you see that? Let me grab that for you. And while we're watching this this is just like few minutes of beauty. I don't know if you can see it when the sun is coming. It's not as easily visible. But when the sun is coming right from behind the clouds, let's enjoy that for a little bit. I'll kind of hold it so you can see it. Is that good? Perfect. Oh my gosh, what a beauty. It's hard to see, but that color is amazingly orange. So speaking of the pancreas, you know, there are quite a few things, just like for the adrenals and for the thyroid, that we can do to actually support the pancreas itself. When we're supporting the enzymes, we are doing good. We are supporting what the pancreas should be making and may not be making as properly as it would in a healthy organism. So we give it the enzymes, just like with thyroid, you know, we give it the thyroid hormone. But then there's also a way to actually support the pancreas itself. Two ways. One is with homeopathic remedies, and one of these are called simply Pancreas Drops, just like these professional formulas, Pancreas Drops, very simple. And the other ones are from, similar as we did for the adrenal glands, the HPNP. It's another homeopathic for the pancreas. And what these do, they actually wake up the receptors on the pancreas. and they start resetting the communication between the pancreas and the other glands and between the cells, amongst the cells of the pancreas. Very simple yet very profound. And then for a next level healing, let's say if I have a deep depletion, I'm dealing with some diabetes, I'm dealing with some massive digestive issues, I am dealing with potentially cancer, right? I'll use the Pancreatin and Ox Plus, but also the same company, or they're similar, but I like this company, Professional Formulas, something called Pancreas Complex. And what that is, it's actually a tissue of pancreas together with the pancreatin and a few other vitamins like B vitamins, selenium, and chromium. Very, very superior when it comes to rebuilding the gland of the pancreas. Before we do any bandages and patching, it's always nice to give the body a chance to rebuild the organ, to reset it, together with some superfoods and super herbs and high alkaline diet, as we talked about being the basic. Glandulars are a beautiful way of rebuilding a organ, including the pancreas. And the idea of those is not to be on them long term. I see sometimes people being on these for 5-10 years, and that is not what they're made for. They're made for short term, like months, 6 months or so, maximum 12, but really 3 to 6 months is all that's needed. Isn't that just a beautiful sunset? Oh my goodness gracious, enjoy that. But yeah, truly, so basically all that's needed is we start with a homeopathic medicine to reset the receptors and kind of wake up the pancreas or any other gland, and then we can do a support of a glandular that helps to rebuild the cells of the gland. And then if we need to, we do the digestive enzymes. The big piece that I really wanted to mention today is the proteolytic enzyme. So always remember, pancreas helps us in a healthy way to break down inflammation. So if we have high levels of inflammation and low levels of pancreatic enzymes or pancreatic function with high stress, we may want to support the pancreas and supporting some of the proteolytic enzymes. What that means is they basically break down inflammation. The other aspect that I really want to talk about is for the pancreas is the diabetes part. We all know about diabetes, it has become kind of an epidemic, and I see a lot of patients on a lot of medication. There's always more and more medication, and the idea is if your blood sugar is high, you get a new medication or you get a higher dose of insulin. That's kind of how we treat diabetes. Even if people go to hospital, the diabetic meals are high in carbohydrates and oftentimes not high in sugars, but high in carbohydrates. And as you know, simple carbohydrates break down into sugars very easily. And if there's one thing I have seen for type 2 diabetes, it's one of the most responsive conditions as far as when it comes to healing, when we support the food the way that doesn't trigger insulin response. What that means, we would eat mostly vegetables, basically low carbohydrate foods. There's also, Gabriel Cousins, he had a center down in Patagonia. I don't know if he still has that, but he was curing people, including type 1 diabetes, having them get off of insulin by supplying a raw diet. It wasn't even animal protein. It was a raw diet with no simple carbs. Quite profound. So that is available to us when we change our way we eat and we change the way we look at pancreas, as far as we need to put out insulin when we eat sugar and carbohydrates. So when we don't eat sugar and carbohydrates that are simple carbohydrates for the most part, some complex, we don't have to put out insulin, so the pancreas can preserve the insulin that it's making for the baseline functions that it needs. That's very important. I have seen it over and over and over without fail. And of course we'll do some herbs for, you know, for the pancreas and help with the blood sugar balance, like the Gymnema sylvestre and jujubes and all those beautiful herbs and everything. But the other part here is the insulin resistance. So what happens when we have high blood sugars in the bloodstream during diabetes, the cells downregulate the amount of insulin receptors on the outer cells. So instead of there being 100, it downregulates them to 50. So then what that means is we need more insulin to drive the same amount of blood sugar into the cell. So like all the insulin is then not working, right? So what that means is the body needs more insulin to bring down the same levels of blood sugar into the cells, and that creates a whole problem in and of itself, because then we start gaining weight and a lot of other insulin stimulated troubles happen. And then usually patients at that point in their progression, then they get put on external insulin, which just makes everything somewhat even worse, unfortunately. So answer to that, once again, is changing the diet. I remember the 369 cleanse from Anthony William. It's a really nice reset. And then maybe a few weeks after of literally just raw vegetable foods is remarkable. And then I don't have those drops on me, but it's homeopathic drops from the same company that makes the Pancreas Drops. I'll make a note underneath. It's the Pancreas DB Liquescence. Really helps with insulin resistance. So I'll make note on this. And definitely exercise, because during exercise we are asking body to bring more glucose into the cells, so we're upregulating the insulin. The pancreas is quite an amazing organ. It's hidden kind of in the back in the back of our abdomen, basically there with the spleen on the left hand side. And for the most part, the reflex point of the pancreas is in the middle of the shoulder blades, right there. So if there are some pains and aches, it may be worth to look at our pancreas. And also sometimes right underneath the sternum, there's also a potential reflex point of the pancreas. So in a quick summary, remember endocrine organ. So we talked about the diabetic aspect and what to do for that. And let's not forget about the exocrine part of the pancreas, which are the enzymes and the alkalinizing aspect of the pancreatic juice. And then a big one is the inflammation and the ability of the pancreatic enzymes to break down inflammation, which is how we can really utilize the external enzymes. I'll make some notes for you a little bit later. I'll post those underneath as far as what is available. And hello birdie. Enjoy the rest of the amazing sunset and have a beautiful evening. Thank you so much. Take care, you guys. Bye-bye. So good to visit. See you tomorrow. Bye.